Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. This is a channel update, January 18th, 2022. Some of this may ramble at times because I'm basically just freestyling this. I didn't put out an outline for what I was going to talk about, but I just wanted to update people who, you know, know me personally or, you know, like the channel and want to know what's going on as far as how everything looks. Right now, with the loss of my mother on Christmas Day, I'm still very adrift. I'm still I'm still grieving. I mean, I'm gonna be grieving for quite a while. As I was very close to my mom, and we were basically partners taking care of this house, our family home, when I had a stroke and became disabled. So, basically, I'm processing all of that, and honestly, I have things that have to be done. There's work that has to be done. There's all sorts of things that have to be done, and finding the motivation to do them is very, very tough. Uh, as I saw in a YouTube video, someone was talking about, the grieving process and what it's like and what it feels like when you're trying to just exist and continue and keep going. It's like trying to, quote unquote, trying to push a thought through jello. And that really, really struck a chord with me because that's what it seems like. It's like I have a many 100-pound weight on my back and I'm trying to just lift myself up and walk and keep going. And it's very, very, very tough. But I'm managing, and it's going to take time. It's just that's the way of things. But my biggest uh, challenge right now is just finding motivation to do things. I've been trying to sell some of my guitars, and I ran into a couple of trades while trying to sell those guitars, and it's like trades are nice, but I need money. And I got the other guitar because it's not expensive per month to pay for it. That doesn't impact my budget at all. So, there's financially, I'm treading water, but I'm staying above, keeping my head above water. So I'm working on that. Uh, it's tough when you're selling guitars on places like Reverb and eBay, and especially Craigslist. Craigslist has some of the sketchiest people I swear I've ever encountered in my lifetime. In the weeks that I've been trying to sell four of my guitars, um, I've the only responses I've gotten basically three people have responded. So I don't know what's going on as far as people buying things right now, but I think that you know people are more in trouble for money now than they've ever been. Our lousy economy, the joke of a leadership we have in Washington, and I'm not just talking one party, I'm talking both of them are a bunch of clowns. And politicians have always been clowns, but they're even worse now. They're doing even less and taking more for themselves, and it's really showing with people. But regardless of the political stuff, I think people are, they're running out of money. And so you get a lot of people who are either sketchy or they're just scamming or who knows what. So I've gotten one reply on my guitars from a scammer who sat there and tried to steal my email. And then there were two other replies from these lowballers. And I have a guitar that's listed for $250, which is underneath what other people are charging for this particular guitar. This is lower by $25 to $50 than what anybody else is charging for it. And I kept getting these offers in off of Craigslist for like 175, 160, and it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It's like these guys that lowball people, 10 to 1, they're either scalpers or they're, you know, most likely resellers. And, you know, they're trying to maximize their profits off of you. And they think because you listed a guitar on Craigslist that you're somehow desperate. I'm not desperate. I'm not at that stage at all. If I was, I'd be going to the music stores and getting basically bent over and screwed in the wallet, so to speak, because that's what they do. Music stores will pay you 20% of the value of your guitar on a good day. And so people who sell their guitars to music stores, they're getting screwed. And then, you know, a lot of these people that are reading these Craigslist ads, they know that. I see people listing guitars in Craigslist for retail and above retail. There's somebody who has a 1970 Gibson Les Paul that they're listing for like $4,000 or $5,000. They're never going to sell that. No one's ever going to buy it. Who's going to buy that? Who's going to pay as much as they would pay for a car for a vintage Gibson? No one's going to do that. You know, there's other guitars that people have listed, and they have listed for way above retail, and they end up sitting on Craigslist for months and even years. You know, because people are ridiculous about what they want for them, and they will not back down in any way, shape, or form. And I can imagine the lowball responses that they've gotten. I know personally there are people who have listed cars on Craigslist for maybe $1,000, and they get a lowball message saying, "Oh, I'll give you $200 for it." That's $800 less than what they're asking. I mean, the mentality behind that, ridiculous. So you just pass them on. And a lot of times people that will respond to Craigslist ads are kind of sketchy. So, you know, I had one recently, and I don't know, he takes his time responding, and he really balked at the fact that I wanted to do the deal during the day, even taking a big loss on my guitar. My $250 guitar I was willing to accept $200 for. And, you know, he seemed even sketchy about that, and he wanted to give me initially $180, and I never should have backed off on $220, which I told him was my absolute rock bottom price. But he gave me this sob story. I'm a poor college student, and I'm blah 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 blah. Now, what it comes down to is this: if your intuition tells you somebody is sketchy, you might want to listen to it. So this guy seems very sketchy to me. He balked at the idea that I want to do the sale during the day in front of cameras in a parking lot that's very populated at a store where I know everybody. And he hasn't responded. He balked at that idea. So he just seems very sketchy, and I'm not going to do the deal with him. You know, I'll keep my guitars up, and if I have to hold on to them and keep them, then I'll keep them. But I'm not going to sit there and be, you know, I'm not going to sit there and be screwed in the wallet over them. I'm not going to be bent over, and I'm not going to be ripped off. And if people don't like that, too bad. There are people charging way above what I charge for my guitars. So there's no room to complain about that. Now, another thing that I wanted to touch on real quick was a friend of mine made a video, a very good friend of mine, and he was kind of apologizing for people because he got some really nice guitars in recently. He, you know, they're not expensive guitars, they're budget guitars, and he said he wasn't going to sweat the details, but then he started to sweat the details on them. I mean, old habits die hard, I know, believe me. Right now, with the loss of Mom, I have to adjust to an entirely new way of life. I'm disabled fully. And I have to, you know, my partner, which was my mom, basically, is not here to assist me in things. And she's not, you know, we mutually helped each other. I took care of her, and she took care of things at the house. And now I've got to do all of this stuff on my own with no assistance, other than distant assistance from uncles and aunts and stuff, which I'm very, very, very grateful for. But, you know, I can understand old habits die hard. I understand that 100%. But at the same time, it's If you show a guitar on your channel, I make no apologies for the guitars I recommend. Why? Because people need to know that any guitar you get is going to require some work. It doesn't matter what you paid for it, what name is on the headstock. It doesn't matter what anybody said about it. Any guitar is going to require at least a little bit of work, which is why I firmly believe that all guitarists, and I'm talking every single one of them, need to know how to do a basic setup on their guitar. That is what they need to do. Because if you don't know that, and all you do is you spend all your time learning how to sweep pick, learning what mode is what, you know, Mixolydian, Trixolydian, tricks are for kids Lydian, you know, then what are you learning? Because you don't even know what the instrument is or what it's capable of doing or how it's made, you know, and if anything happens to it, then see, rich rock stars can take their guitars. They have techs that travel with them, you know, and their techs work on their guitars all the time. Just look at the there's these videos, rig rundown videos and stuff. I can't remember the channel, Guitar Magazine maybe, I don't know who makes the videos, but every one of these rock stars has a tech that travels. Their tech travels, and they have a workshop, a portable workshop that they set up every venue, and they work on those guitars every single time there's a gig. Every single time. So they can afford to not have to worry about learning, you know, what neck relief is, all this other stuff, because they just pay somebody to do it. And as far as I know, the majority of us aren't very rich rock stars on YouTube here. And so, you know, learning how to set up a guitar should be, in my opinion, it's required. If you don't know that, you don't want to take the time to do that, I don't know how long you're going to be playing guitar, because obviously you only want the glory of it and you don't want this stuff that actually is work. And I'll tell you one thing, the music business and playing music is work. Doing gigs is work. And if you can't afford to have a tech traveling with you, then you better know how to fix your guitar or how to adjust it. You know, should anything happen, God forbid, while you're at a gig or before a gig or whatever. Because otherwise, you're going to be shit out of luck when something does happen. So, and you need to learn that. So, just for my friend, it is not your responsibility if you suggest a guitar to somebody and then they get it and then they need it, the guitar needs work. I've watched channels like Dave's World of Fun Stuff. The guy in England who I absolutely admire and think he's the bee's knees as far as guitar technician, that's Sam Deeks, Deeks. He is awesome. I mean, this guy knows guitars front to back. He's a wizard of a tech, and his work is impeccable. And they've gotten guitars in both these channels, Dave's World of Fun Stuff and Sam Deeks. They've gotten guitars in from Gibson, from Fender, really high dollar guitars, as well as the budget guitars they've gotten in here and there. And they all have issues. Well, maybe not all, but I'd say a good 97% of these high value guitars, high dollar guitars, even boutique guitars, they have issues that need to be adjusted. Guitars are made out of wood. Wood was once a living thing. It is very, very subject to its environment. If you have wood that comes from an area where there's more rainfall, that wood is going to be more dense because it's going to be more internal growth. If you have wood that goes through dry seasons, many dry seasons, that wood is going to be less dense because there's less growth. And a lot of it has to do with seasonal. It could be changed from year to year. It could change from month to month, to day. So it's not an exact thing. Wood is not an exact thing. So buying a Gibson doesn't mean, or a Fender, or spending thousands of dollars on a guitar doesn't mean you're going to escape that the guitar will have to have work done on it. It doesn't matter. You could buy a guitar for $50. You could buy a guitar for $5,000. It's still going to need work. And it's not your responsibility, if you recommend guitars to people on a YouTube channel, to apologize to your viewers if the guitar needs work. Everyone and anyone who buys a guitar, becomes a guitarist, should either already know this or learn it and accept it. Guitars are not exact. They don't intonate exactly. They're not meant to be a micron's perfect adaptation, or precision. They're not meant to do that. Guitars are guitars. There's a lot of people that will, and I've seen even YouTube channels where you have technicians that will go up and down the fretboard meticulously with a fret rocker. That is one of my big pet peeves. Why? Because if it's not buzzing, those frets are going to wear down eventually anyway. If it's not buzzing, it's not going to matter. They're going to wear down to your playing. The guitar has to adapt to you. And going down and meticulously getting every fret to the same level at a micron is ridiculous and pointless. Because what if one of those frets wasn't from the same metal as the other frets? What if it was replaced? What if it also was a weak spot in the metal? That fret will wear down. Frets wear down when you play them. And then you'll have buzzing. It's not an exact thing. As long as the strings aren't buzzing, you should be fine. A lot of people, they get way into the details. As long as the guitar plays, functions, does what it does, it doesn't matter how much you paid for it. It doesn't matter whose name is sitting on the headstock. And it doesn't matter if you have a fret that's a micron higher than another fret. As long as it's not buzzing and as long as you can play it. No guitar is an exact thing. Nothing. It's not perfection. There is no perfect guitar. It doesn't exist because it is made of a product that has a lot of variables in it, which is wood. Which is why tone wood is bullshit too. Because wood is different. You can get two pieces of wood and they'll be vastly different even though they're the same species. It's a product of its environment. There it is. My beliefs, my wisdom, what I've learned over the decades that I've been a musician. And I've been a musician now for a long, long time. In fact, I've been a musician since 1976. And I can't do the math right now because I'm really crappy at math. But it's a very long time. Say 48 years? Is it 48 years? I don't know. No, 46 years? I don't know. Math and I are not good friends. But, I can read an indicator. I can read a ruler, so I know how to set up my guitars and work on them. Even if I have problems with math. Anyway, so that's all I've got to say. Thank you for watching. I will continue to make music on this channel as long as I'm capable. And I don't know what the future holds, so I will just say this. If I'm gone for more than 2 weeks, then most likely I'm not here anymore. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. If you see this channel go silent for more than 2 weeks, then I'm not around anymore. And if that does happen, it's been an honor doing this channel. And I've enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed meeting all the great people that I've met through this channel. So, thank you very much. Have a great day. And stay warm in this very cold, bitter part of the year. And I will be talking to you all on the flip side. Have a good day.